Hello, in this video I'm going to explain to you about the Skynet interview day management module. So in the earlier video I had explained to you about the various roles with regards to the control room, the scheduler, the company volunteer and front desk. So these are the four roles that are currently in my menu over here. So this is the control room role, this is the scheduler role, this is the company volunteer role. So right now there is no data since I haven't started any interviews, and this is the front desk role. So front desk is more like the hall manager who are managing the students, and especially in the physical placements process. Maybe in the digital version, front desk role may not be there in most of the institutions, and also in the Skynet platform, we don't have the front desk role in the virtual placement scenario. But this is more relevant in the physical or hybrid placement scenario. So these are the four roles. And in the first step, basically what we do is we upload the data. So I have some sample data uploaded with regards to students, with regards to PlaceCom members and company volunteers, etc. And some sample companies I have taken. So I have taken around 11 different companies in consulting, IT, and strategy and other roles. So I will not be discussing anything more about the data setup, but I would be focusing more on how do we actually go about the process of taking the attendance of a student and sending them, scheduling them into the interview process. And once they complete the interview, how do we bring them back to the pool and again send them into a different interview process wherever they have a shortlist for. So that's the scenario we would be covering. So in the first step, basically what the control room would do is at the beginning of the day, they make sure that, let us say, all the companies, so let us say there are some companies that they are starting at 7:30, some at 8 o'clock, some at 10 o'clock. So the responsibility of the control room would be to make sure that these companies are started or active in the Skynet platform. And once these companies are active, the schedulers would be basically would be able to see this information in this page saying that, these are the companies which are currently active that are mapped to me, and now I need to send these students into the interview process. So let us go to the company called as McKinsey, and if I go to the interview process page, so this is how the process page, I'd be able to see. So this is the basic process page in the interview process. Here I'm able to see the list of students who have been shortlisted. So these are all the list of students that have been shortlisted, and I have a lot of information that is provided. So I'll just quickly go through some information. So I can access the profile of the students. I can also look into their schedules for today. So which companies they have interview for. So this particular sample student has interviews with Google, Alvarez, and some other companies. So they have complete information of what is the state, how busy a student is. So this is one of the important factors we consider that allows you to focus on students on the basis of their busyness on a given day based on the number of shortlists. So the system calculates the load score, which indicates how many shortlists a student has. On the basis of that, basically the load score is calculated. So this particular student has 5 shortlists, the second student has 4 shortlists, the third student has 3 shortlists, and some of the students only have 1 shortlist, just this company. So in case if you are manually planning the students and sending them into the interview process, that can be done. Or you can also ask the system to do a automatic scheduling so that it creates the round timings as per the interview round durations the companies have given, and it automatically creates a schedule on the basis of student availability. A clash-free schedule is generated on the basis of student availability, on the basis of how many shortlists that they have, so that they can attend all the interviews without worrying about clashes. Neither students have to worry, neither you have to worry about that. But in the first case, let us let us do a manual scheduling, not the automatic scheduling. And here I can see that this particular student is currently available in pool since almost 60 minutes. Okay, so before scheduling the student, I can check their attendance. So now the attendance is pending. So like I said, so the front desk are the ones who would be able to see that, for this particular company, for Srikanth, we have an attendance call. So they would be making sure that the student is present, and once the student is available, they get a confirmation, they mark them as present. So again, this information is again communicated back to the scheduler page instantly, and where they would be able to see that attendance is present for the student. So basically they are able to see this. So now basically what they can do is they can now schedule the student to the interview process. So here, since we haven't created a particular plan on at which time this particular student goes, the system will ask, at which time you want to schedule the student. So at 8:05 with panel P1 for round 1 interview. So now I'm scheduling the student. So now the student has been scheduled for the interview process. So let us say, since almost most of the institutions are right now following a hybrid approach, let us assume this is an offline process. So again, the front desk will receive the information that this particular student has been scheduled. Now, you would have certain PlaceCom members who are guiding students to the correct location. So you might be tagging them to one of the students, and you might be sending them into the interview process. Into the particular location. So once you send them, you indicate in the system that the particular student has been sent into the interview process to vacancy. Okay, so this is what the process is about. So if you look into the previous diagram, so first the student is available in hall, attendance is pending, attendance has been taken. So hall manager takes the attendance. Once the attendance has been taken, scheduler marks the student as scheduled, and hall manager checks, or the front desk checks the student out into the interview process. So the student state is called as in transit. So we are at this state right now. So now let me go back to the McKinsey company page. So as you can see, the status of the student is also reflecting over here, saying that the student is in transit state. So now basically the role of the company volunteer comes into picture. So what does a company volunteer do? So basically they are mapped to a company, and they would be interacting with the recruiters of a company, and it's their responsibility to make sure that students are received, and whenever the panel is available, they will be sending them into the interview panel. So for this particular student, Srikanth, at McKinsey, they have just arrived. Let's assume they have just arrived at the interview location. So you mark them as received. So once they're received, maybe after 5 minutes or some duration, you would be sending them into the interview room where the panel 1 is there. So basically interview panel 1. So you are sending them into that particular interview room. Now again, if I go back to the McKinsey process page, as you see, this particular student, Srikanth, is an interview in process, which means if I go back to the chart again, so the student has been scheduled. They've been received at the interview location. They've been assigned a panel. Once they have been assigned a panel, they have been sent into the interview room. So now the state is called as interview in. Okay, so interview in or in process. So we call it as interview in process. So basically interview in process with this particular round. Now, once this round is complete, again, basically what the company volunteers will do is they will inform in the system. So basically they'll track this state in the system saying that the interview is complete. Interview is complete. So if I go back to the McKinsey page again, you can see this information saying that interview has been completed. So in round 1 completed state, Srikanth will be there over here. Interview complete. So now from interview complete state, they can be sent back to the pool. So how do you send back to the pool? So you just say that round 1 is complete. Until the time round 2 shortlist is released, you can go and attend some other interviews. So that's a basic understanding. So you mark them. So basically the company volunteers will mark them as round complete, and the student will be available again for being scheduled into the next interview process. So basically this particular student, wherever they have a shortlist, whichever company they have a shortlist for. So Alvarez is another company that they have a shortlist for, and they have already previously attended interviews with Google. Almost 3 rounds they have attended. So that information is also available over here. So for McKinsey, currently the offer state is currently pending. So you would be able to track the entire state of the students from the time you have taken their attendance, from the time you have sent them into the interview process, from the time they are completing the interview process, and they are sent back to the pool. So right now this particular student is available in the pool. So as a scheduler, so basically let us say if I go back to the other company where this particular student has a shortlist. So basically again, Srikanth is over here, and if I look into their schedule again, so since their interview load score is higher because they have multiple shortlists, you see again they are on the top. So this particular student again can be planned, scheduled. So I can check their attendance again, And this request again comes over. So for Alvarez, basically the request for attendance has come over here. So you mark them as present, and I go back to the Alvarez process page. Now I select Srikanth and I schedule them for 9:14 or 9:44, whichever round. So basically interview round. Okay. Now basically this information is again communicated to the front desk. So they send them to the interview process by assigning a helper, wherever Alvarez interview is happening. Now again, the process tracker would again see this information saying that for Alvarez, okay, this particular student is coming into the interview process. They have come into the interview process. They accept them, and then they send them into the interviewing process in the particular interview location. So now they are giving the interview. So let us say interview duration is for 30 minutes. After 30 minutes, they mark, once the student comes back out of the interview process, they mark them as interview complete. And if they don't have an immediate round 2, they are sent back to the common pool by marking them as round complete. So that's the entire state. So if I go back to the Alvarez company over here again, Srikanth over here, if I look into their schedule, they have attended round 1 interviews right now with McKinsey and Alvarez, and you can see the state in real time. So this is how all these different roles come into picture, whether it is control room who are managing the overall process, scheduler who are managing the schedules of different companies, making sure that the students are attending the interview process by taking their attendance and scheduling them. Process trackers, they are tracking the company side, where basically they're making sure that students are being sent into the interview rooms, and front desk who is making sure that the students are available. So these are the 4 key roles that we have spoken about earlier, who are involved in managing the entire interview day process for day 1, day 0 seamlessly. And these are the 4 key roles which exist in different institution names, interview schedulers or company volunteers, or placecom in certain cases, front desk and controls team. So basically these are the key roles that we are talking about. In the next video, I'll show you how does Skynet generate the automatic schedule.